Afternoon, folks. Time for some more hobby nightmares, or at least me recording some hobby nightmares whilst trying not to die. Yeah, just feeling a bit rough after the weekend. No idea what's happened, but coming down with something. Gonna need to make sure that I'm drinking lots of fluids and doing lots of stuff like that. But anyway, let's get into reading some hobby nightmares. I have noticed that my views, not my views, the length of my videos is creeping up again. I really don't want that. Yeah, because I've been trying to pull it down a little bit just so we can have, videos that don't make my throat sore. So, yeah, we'll be doing a shorter video today. Just like most other days where they should be getting a bit shorter, down to about 10-15 minutes. Because I'd like to do more videos, like once a day rather than once every few days. Because I need to, wait for longer stories and things like that. Anyway, our first story comes from Kiwi, who has gotten back in touch with me. Very nice to see you, Kiwi. Thank you very much for being a patron. He says, "Hi North, hope all is well with you. I have a couple of hobby nightmare stories involving a person that will be known as Red." Okay. I'm guessing this person's a redhead. Or maybe not, I don't know. Reading too much into it. "I've known Red from high school, but only interacted with her after we both got into uni. She was pretty sheltered and did not know a lot about video games, hobby stuff and Warhammer. That all changed after I introduced her to Dawn of War and Warhammer 40,000. She absolutely loved the Space Wolves, oh god, and Custodes, and started building these armies. She asked me to, well, lead her down the right path, dude. Why is she doing Space Wolves? Anyway, she asked me to help her out with what minis to get, codices and how to play the game. Red bought on her own the starter set with the few tactical squads, Marines, riding the Wolves, the Thunderwolf Cavalry, and the Fenrisian Wolves. And I got for her birthday a box set of Castus Assault Ram in it, and eventually for Christmas I got her the Codex. Excellent. Okay. This is where I started to notice some issues, I guess. She was an amazing painter, far better than me. However, she could not assemble a mini if her life depended on it. I'm talking failing to assemble an intercessor with the instructions in her face. She was a good friend. I assembled a lot of Space Wolves and Custodes for her while she painted them. Eventually, we got to the point where we could have our first game, and decided to play at the end of the week. I gave her the rulebook, the Core Rules leaflet, and she already had her own codex. She agreed to read them, and draft a list for the game. Spoiler, she did not read the rules, and did not make a list. I made her a list, and told Red I would make a demo game so that she could understand the basics. My guardsman shot her Space Wolves like it was a turkey shoot, while she had very bad rolls, and her Marines were dropping left and right. I wanted to end the game because I started to notice that she was getting angrier and angrier by each turn, but she insisted that we end the game. At one point, she got so angry that she threw a dice at me. It's a woman after my own heart. I opted to pretend that never happened. Didn't get an apology for it either. Another story of her is when we played a kill team, the one from 8th edition 40k. I played Imperial Guard, she played Custodes. By now, I was fully aware of her temper tantrums when it came to losing, so I played in a friendly manner. Her Custodes mopped the floor with me, butchering my poor guardsmen and scions. Okay, well, Guess you're getting a taste of your own medicine, I guess? I mean, I'm not sure. Oh, sorry, my music went a bit weird there. That's better. Don't like it going down my ear like it's coming in your ears. Anyway, her Custodes mopped the floor with me, butchering my poor guardsmen and scions. It is important to mention that by the time, I was quite good at playing kill team with the guard and got mostly victories. I consider second place and third place an achievement for me in local tournaments, but I also loved playing narrative games as well. Needless to say, a lot of people knew me, where I played and how I played. Excellent. Okay. After she won, she started gloating about her victory and how she, a beginner, managed to beat a pro like me, and how the guard is just a pushover faction that don't stand a chance in the face of Custodes. When I noticed looks being thrown towards our table, I felt like melting into the ground and just pour my liquid self out over the store. I congratulated her on the victory and decided to call it a day and just leave. I have a couple more stories about Red if you and the guys are interested. One about us playing Bolt Action, her playing Star Wars, Legions, and Lord of the Rings. Yeah, send them in, because I think it's very interesting to have a story with ladies in it that isn't simping or talking about, you know, people objectifying them. So this is pretty cool. Her behaviour is, I would say, not good. You know, I mean, it's awful. But at the same time, it's beginners starstruck. You know, she's swinging from one extreme to the other when it comes to her reactions to losing and winning in 40k. Because losing and winning in 40k when you first start is a big deal, right? So yeah, it seems to me that this should calm down the more she plays and the more she gets used to it. If it doesn't calm down, then I would say it's time to have a word with her, because it seems to me like you've got a really nice place to go and play games there if people are already acting like, wow, don't be a douche, you know, look, giving her those kinds of looks. So maybe you want to like pull her aside if it keeps happening, or cut her some slack if she just started in the hobby. Up to you. Anyway, Lex Croft is in contact with us again, talking about Games Workshop interviews. He says, "Hello again, Northern Exile, and my fellow Northern Exilers." Oh, never heard of that term before. "Thank you for your kind and encouraging words for my last message. You are very welcome. It meant a lot to me, and you gave me a lot more credit than I deserve for having my shit together, because some days I am hanging on by a thread. But your words gave me encouragement and got me through the week, so thank you, dude." Oh, no problem, man. And again, this is kind of the reason why the channel exists. So, you know, I really hope that we get to help you out, and we get to, you know, get you through your working week. Make sure you can get to the end of it and to the weekend where you can just relax and do some painting. Or not if you work in retail, but there we go. I said I'd message you with my Games Workshop interview nightmare, so here it is. I can already feel you rolling your eyes at me here, which is understandable from watching your earlier videos about how to get a job at Games Workshop, but let me set the scene. I'm 17 or 18 and doing an art course at college, living with my mum and looking for a side job. Walking past the Games Workshop store one day, I saw a notice in the window saying they were looking for staff. I went in because, hey, I used to do that sort of stuff when I was younger, and it would be a fun job. I explained to the guy in the store that I hadn't really played 40k since the beginning of 3rd edition, but that I still love the hobby. I used to walk past the store all the time, just to look at the minis on display in the window. This was the Edinburgh store, by the way. Okay, cool. The guy was really friendly and gave me a copy of White Dwarf for free and encouraged me to have a read of it and apply. I applied, and they invited me to go to a group interview in Glasgow. This was my very first interview, but I really fucking hate group interviews. They are just wrong. Yeah, I agree. I'm not aware of Games Workshop doing group interviews for at least the past 10-15 years. But I could be wrong. Anyway, I turned up and there's about 8 to 10 people there. They told us to bring some painted minis, so I took some of my old Tyranids and painted some new ones. I did this one Termagant and used a load of UHU glue, so it had loads of strings of slime dripping off of it. Won't lie, I thought it looked pretty cool. Fast forward to the interview. When they asked to see our minis, I pulled out 10 minis, and everyone else there was with their cases full of hole-painted armies. So, as if I wasn't already out of my depth, they then asked each of us to stand up and describe the last game that we played. This was when in-store games were still a big thing, so it does make sense that they would ask you to do this. But the last game I remembered playing was a game I'd played in the Edinburgh store one evening. The mission we rolled didn't make sense, but we played it anyway. And even though one of the staff came up halfway through the game and said, "Yeah, that doesn't really make sense for a Tyranid player to be the playing defender in this mission, you should have re-rolled the mission." So I stood up, and there in front of people who play this shit every day, and tried to explain this nonsensical game from years ago. Safe to say, even before I left the store, I didn't expect to hear back from them. And yes, sorry, I did turn up in a hoodie and jeans, but hey, I was a metalhead, anti-suit art student. Well, you know, at least you stuck to your guns and you were who you were. As for the Love You Long Time t-shirts and merch, I reckon you should do it, but with a pic of a cave troll and an angry dwarf behind it. I reckon it would be pretty funny. Cheers, dude. Well, that's awesome. I mean, this is why you don't do group interviews. They shouldn't be done. They shouldn't be handled this way. they're awkward as fuck, and they make you seem like you're on trial when you're not. You're going for a bog standard low paying retail job. These are the kind of jobs where you should be able to just walk in off the street, to be honest with you, and they're like, you know, hey, do you like 40k? Cool. Do you want a job for the rest of the day? I'm not going to pay you, but I want to see how you do. Okay, cool. And if you do well, okay, yeah, here's your job. You're here, you know, that kind of thing. The problem is that people tend to take the piss. By that I mean employers. We're not living in a world anymore where you can just give somebody a job for a day and not pay them, because you will give them an honest to God's job if they do well, because most companies will treat that as a way to get, you know, free labour, which is just bullshit. I will say group interviews are a curse and they shouldn't be done, and the fact that Games Workshop did them just makes me just want to vomit, because I know the kind of people who work at Games Workshop, especially in recruitment, and I would not want to spend all day with the people in those departments, because they would end up making you want to fucking kill yourself, because you don't want to be there anymore, and you don't want to be working Games Workshop anymore, you don't want to be doing in the hobby anymore, because they've just sapped all the energy and likelihood of you ever coming back out of it for you. So there you go. So that's me. I honestly just don't like the fact that they used to do this, and I get the fact that you want to make sure that you're getting the right people for the job, but there are ways and means of doing that. I never had to do a group interview once in my life, you know, especially not working with Games Workshop. My recruitment time was very bog standard. You know, applied for the job online, got invited to an interview at the store, did the interview, went, and they offered me the job. I did one interview and they offered me the job. Same with my manager's job. I applied for it, got called to the interview, they offered me the job. Just bog standard. In fact, I could really tell when they called me up when I was at the store, the lady from Nottingham, I could really tell that she was smiling over the phone, that she loved giving that kind of news. So it like made my day. Like they actually wanted me. They're like, oh, we want this guy to come in and do our store. So there are certain parts of Games Workshop that are definitely a lot better than what they used to be. And I think recruitment is one of those, to be honest with you. Not that everyone working there is nice, because, you know, obviously. But at the same time, you know, group interviews, bullshit. Don't do them. And if you get offered a group interview, it doesn't matter who it's from, don't go. Don't go. Vote with your feet. And don't turn up in jeans and a fucking t-shirt. I know. You stuck up for yourself. You stuck by your own convictions. But you were disqualified, man. As soon as you turned up, Lex. As soon as you turned up in jeans and a hoodie, you were disqualified. That was it. You're not getting the job. They may as well have turned you away at the door and stopped wasting your time, because, you know, Games Workshop. The only time I turned up in casual clothes was when, for my management interview, I was asked to turn up in my work clothes, which is my Games Workshop t-shirt and jeans, right? Aside from that, I used a suit, and I swear to God, me being in a suit probably had a good reason for me getting my foot in the door at Games Workshop in the first place. You're showing respect to them, you're showing respect to the process, and you're showing that you can actually take good care of yourself. That you look good, right? You smell good, you look good. And you make love good. Nah, I'm kidding. That was a James Brown quote. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. I will speak to you tomorrow for more Hobby Nightmares, because it is Wednesdays. You're getting a big old pile of videos this week. Love you all, long time. Have a really good one. And hey, make sure you have a fantastic rest of your day. See you later.